Hello Electroheads, this is the VW ID4, the bigger, more family-friendly sibling to the ID3. And in the grand scheme of things, this is a very important car. Chances are VW will sell more of these than they will ID3s because A, this is available in America, ID3 is not, and B, well, people just like SUVs these days, don't they? The thing is, I don't feel especially equipped to review this car because, for one, I'm not the biggest fan of SUVs, and for two, as you can tell from my cheerful, carefree demeanour, I don't have any children. What I need to do is get into the head of an ID4 customer, so one second. Ah! What do you think, Cole?
I'm speechless, mate.
Hi, Speechless. I'm Dad.
Oh, God.
And we begin with the most important test of them all. Oh yes, this is very impressive. Great rear visibility, nice squashy headrest to hold on to. Kids, could you put your heads down, please? And Elon, put your seatbelt on. Now, the first thing to know about the ID4 is that, like its smaller sibling, it is built on VW Group's cutting-edge MEB platform. This is the beauty of building a dedicated EV architecture like VW has. It's more work at first, but once you've got it, you can just drop a load of different body shapes onto it and create a whole range of electric cars. We've got the hatchback and the SUV so far, but soon there'll be an estate car, a camper van, another SUV and a hot hatchback, all using the same skateboard platform. This is the way to build electric cars. Another advantage of that MEB platform is the amount of space you get in here. Now the ID3 is a smallish car, but it feels huge inside. This ID4 is actually quite big on the outside, and it's positively cavernous in here. You get so much room, so much legroom, so much headroom, just so nice and airy in here. And in the back as well, tons of legroom, tons of headroom. And that's a good thing because I expect the kids are going to be even taller than their old man one day, right kids? And would you just look at the amount of storage in here? I've got these huge door bins and a massive one in the middle here. And when you're a dad like me, you'll know that storage is key because while children themselves are quite small, they do come with a lot of shit. So in here, for example, I've packed this bin with everything you could possibly need to keep small children happy and calm on a long road trip. Just picture it. You're motoring along on the motorway, you hear a bit of noise and whinging in the back. Boom! Happy children. I'm going to be a great dad one day. And here's something genuinely impressive. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the size of this boot. It's massive. Just think how many buggies and nappies and breast milk you could, I don't know what kids need, but look at this, look at this. This is even more impressive. You fold these seats down, they go totally flat, and then you've got like a full-blown minivan. It is oh my God, I crushed the kids. Another strength of the ID4, at least in my opinion, is the design. When it comes to buying a family hauler, the last thing you want to do is end up with something that makes it look like you've just totally given up on life. That corner of the market is already well served by the Nissan Qashqai. The ID4 definitely has a bit of charm to it. Yes, it's a big blobby thing, hence all that interior space, but with its fancy pointy face, rear light bar, silvery C-pillar and lovely 20-inch wheels, a clear effort has been made to add a little style to the school run. I actually think it looks better than the ID3. And it's nicer than the ID3 inside as well. Well, it's actually pretty much identical to the ID3, but I like the colour scheme on this one. The ID3 was a bit drab, it was all grey inside, the one that I had, and because there isn't much in here, it's a bit boring. This one, with a little browny orange and the white accents, much more interesting. I really like this cabin. Also, big fan of these squashy seats, complete with an armrest. Dads love resting their arms. Unfortunately, one thing I haven't warmed to since my time with the ID3 is this infotainment system. It's just a little bit clunky and fiddly and confusing. It's really not the best. It will get better via over-the-air updates. That's very important to remember. But what won't get better are these infernal slidey buttons down here to operate the climate control and the volume. Now, I know that every VW review on the internet has complained about these, including my ID3 review, but just indulge me a couple of minutes to let some stuff out of my system because I have a clearer idea now of why they make me so cross. Reason number one, they're terrible to use. How is this better than a rotary dial? It's not. Reason number two, they're not illuminated. You can't even find the at night. Reason number 3, and this is the big one, because this is a bit fiddly. You kind of want to rest your hands somewhere when you're doing it so you can be accurate. But if you do that, you run the risk of either deafening yourself or baking yourself with the climate control. Bad VW, bad VW. Now, is this a reason not to buy the car? Of course not. It's annoying. Every car has an annoying thing. And the good news is, because there's Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and steering wheel controls, you don't actually have to interact with this too much, but it's rubbish. That being said, this cabin has definitely grown on me since my time with the ID3. And when I think about it with my dad hat on, I'm looking at this and thinking, nice, clean, easy wipe surfaces, be very easy to get vomit off that, and no buttons down here for children to push chocolate into. Dad friendly, I think, family friendly. One thing less family friendly is the white wheel. I really like this, but I mean, God, you'd have to be mad to have this in a car with small children. You'd need to put them in hazmat suits every time they got in the car, or it would be brown after a few days. But the real question is, how does this car stand up in a classic dad situation, wanting to collect your child from their mate's house without having to go in and talk to their parents? Let's find out. Yeah, strong score there. Like the ID3, the ID4 comes with a range of motor and battery options. The smaller battery offers 216 miles of range and can be had with either 145 or 167 horsepower, while the bigger battery has 310 miles of range and only one motor option, giving 201 horsepower. Currently, all models are rear-wheel drive, but VW has stated that a faster all-wheel drive flagship model is coming soon. Now, when I first heard the performance figures for this car, I was a little bit surprised because, well, it's not a lot of power, is it? I'm so used to every electric car on the road having neck braking, dropped off a building acceleration. It's unusual to drive one that doesn't, but it's really quite nice. Even in this, the more powerful ID4 model with the bigger motor and bigger battery, it is seriously mellow. Look, I'll put my foot down, and it goes, but it's not violent. And why should it be? It's a bus, it's not a sports car. Don't get me wrong, it's not too slow. You could still just about overtake people with a good-sized gap. And it sits at motorway speed very nicely, even at dad motorway speed, which is 90, in case you're wondering. Is that just my dad? Other than that, I really don't have much to report on what this car is like to drive. It's nice. It's a lovely way to get around. The steering is actually got a nice bit of weight to it, which is quite nice. The pedal position is good. The seat is great. The driving position is really nice. Visibility surprisingly decent for a big blocky SUV like this. I mean, VW is so good at this stuff. They always nail the basics. Except for this. As with the ID3, the ID4 comes equipped as standard with the ID light. That's the big LED bar inside the cabin that sweeps from left to right and right to left to give you your directions. Love it. Bit of a gimmick. It's really cool though. Is a bit of a shame that this press car doesn't seem to have come with the augmented reality windscreen feature, because I was so excited to try that out. You know, dads love a gizmo, but never mind. Also, bit of a shame, and again, same complaint as the ID3, that the regen strength on this car isn't adjustable. You either have regen on or regen off. And when it's on, it's not that strong. You can't do proper one-pedal driving. Bit of a weird oversight, that one. Concluding thoughts on the ID4. Well, I would summarise it like this. Rubbish, brilliant. The bizarre thing about this car is it's slightly warmed me to SUVs, because the thing that always bugged me about SUVs is how they were massive but not any bigger on the inside. It's just so wasteful. But in this, it is as big on the inside as it looks, if not bigger somehow. It's so roomy, and when that's the case, it's a lot easier to justify a big SUV because you're actually making use of all that space. The thing that always strikes me when I drive one of these VW ID cars is how VW have just nailed the fundamentals, how they've really gotten the essentials right. It really feels like a load of German boffins got together in a room, made a list of what people really need in an electric SUV, and just made that, no more, no less. Big range, good value, tons of space inside, and that's about it. Because EVs are still relatively new, pretty much every electric car you can buy right now has a downside of some sort. And in a lot of other electric cars, that downside is not enough range or a tiny boot, something properly inconvenient. In the ID4, I have to spend 5 minutes whinging about the rubby buttons because there is nothing else to complain about. All the important stuff, check, done very well. And driving this, I'm just so struck by how much of what is good about this car comes from the MEB platform. EVs that are built to be EVs from the get-go, they're just so much better. That is the reason that these VW ID cars and the Teslas feel leagues above everything else on the road. Frankly, I'm kind of losing interest in electric cars that are actually just converted petrol cars. There are some great ones out there. I love the Mini Electric, I love the Polestar 2. But when you get an EV like this, that was always designed to be electric from the get-go, it is night and day. This is the way to build electric cars, and other car brands need to be taking notes because VW have put themselves in a great position to storm ahead in the EV race going forward. So there we have it, my friends, the VW ID4, an SUV that I actually quite like. Maybe it's time to have kids. Thank you very much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you at the next one.